Hello, this is Faye Heald. I'm sorry I'm not with you this weekend, but I wanted to introduce this panel. Well, I say I'm not there as I record this, but I am there in the ether, so we'll hopefully be joining you online at the end for the discussion, technology willing. This roundtable explores methods of creating substantial impact within a musical scene and the ethical challenges relating to an ambitious change agenda. We'll reflect on using participatory methods to identify issues and explore ways to increase and access participation. Drawing on academic and stakeholder knowledge, we'll introduce planned action research approaches for positive impact in the English folk scene. We'll present experiences from our project and welcome discussion around the approaches and the issues involved. Access Folk is a large 5-year UKRI funded Future Leaders Fellowship led by me at University of Sheffield. The project brings together folk artists, audiences, arts professionals and academics to explore ways of increasing and diversifying participation in folk singing in England. We're 2 years in, having just completed the first stage of identifying the issues, and we're moving into the second action research stage. Creating impact rather than pure knowledge through research is essential in contemporary UK academia. While ethnomusicologists have long debated the impacts of our work while focused on collection, documentation and critical analysis of traditions, the nature of our impacts necessarily differ when our objectives turn to change making. Overall, we've found great enthusiasm for engagement with academic research from both the community of existing singers and organisers and wider publics, despite the considerable pulls on everyone's time and resources. As the primary investigator, I have considerable experience of projects built on co-produced or participatory research methods, and this project is somewhat unusually well-resourced. However, we're still encountering many of the common issues found with such methodologies, namely that participatory research takes unexpected amounts of time and there are potentials for miscommunication between different participants and groups. It's important to recognise these challenges as lessons. Co-produced, participatory and action research methods are highly demanding and nuanced in their ethical and logistical implications. The project participants feel the challenge of these methods is far outweighed by the potential impacts in musical practices and communities. Over the past 20 years, forms of collaborative and engaged research have become increasingly common in ethnomusicology. See Beverly Diamond and Salwa Al-Shawan Castelo Branco's critical discussion of a range of socially engaged approaches for an overview. Methods such as participatory action research in particular have been used to engage and support marginalised or disadvantaged groups. For example, Angela Impey's discussion about advocacy, ethnomusicology and participatory action research in South Africa, and Samuel Arajo and Grupo Musicultura's work around sound praxis, music politics and violence in Brazil. The creation of knowledge in collaboration with non-academic partners is not a new feature of ethnomusicology. However, the framing of such efforts within current discourses about participatory research allow us to think about the value and purpose of research in new ways. The action research project Access Folk has developed within this discourse to not only champion the use of action research in ethnomusicology, but to explore forms of non-academic participation at different stages of the research. We're reluctant to frame our research in terms of participatory action research, preferring to separate out participatory research and action research because we aren't generally working with a disenfranchised group, so the critical pedagogy and power dimensions embedded in participatory action research methodologies are less applicable. This research presents a new way of applying these approaches to an established power-holding group in order to facilitate engagement from more marginalised people. The methodological models that are foundational to this project have their origins in international development and cultural evaluation, contexts that emphasise evaluation of impact and change. We're following 3 main models: theory of change, popularised in the 1990s by Carol Weiss, most significant change as proposed by Jessica Dart and Rick Davies, and Leila Janovic and David Stevenson's fail space to emphasise the acceptance of everything not always going to plan. We're working with a nationwide scene incorporating multiple organisations and individuals. It's not possible to work with everyone involved, so we've taken a sampling approach, engaging with key figures and representatives of the various contexts involved. An outline of the project structure will be helpful to position the papers you're about to hear. Underpinning and operating throughout the project are the Access Folks staff, including researchers, a project manager and communications assistant, and an advisory board consisting of 13 people with a variety of professional and voluntary interests in the research. This group takes the strategic decisions about what areas of research we should focus on and what methods to employ. In stage 1, we sought to understand what the access issues were, both for marginalised people within the scene through the consulting groups, and for those who do not engage, using Ask a Friend, a peer-to-peer interview programme. We also sought to understand the current demographic and experiences of folk singers relating to various areas of accessibility through a survey and artistic research. Having identified areas of concern to people within and on the edges of the scene, the advisory board identified the priority areas and we're in the early stages of stage 2. This will see grants being awarded to a dozen action research projects addressing an area of change in their local area, and 5 theme projects involving small groups of people, including Access Folk staff, board members and community members, devising strategies to tackle the 5 key areas. Findings from these experimental activities will be analysed and shared among the wider folk community and academic circles. I'll hand you over to the presenters in the room now and we'll join you, along with board member Kat McGill, for the following discussion.